Hey, welcome back to the Daily Plus Live. You're looking at a live picture of the big house in Ann Arbor. That's because in just a couple of moments from now, Devin Scillian is going to be sitting down one-on-one with the University of Michigan President Santa Ono. They are at the Detroit Econ Club today. And, every once in a while, the Detroit Econ Club has big events and they have speakers come in and then they ask journalists to sit down and do the one-on-one Q&A. And so Devin has been asked to do this today. And I think it's going to be a very valuable conversation, even if you don't have someone who has ties to the University of Michigan. It is a state university. There's a lot of funding that goes there as well. And the university has also decided to invest in the city of Detroit. That innovation center is going to be breaking ground next month. So Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is there as well, and he's going to be giving some kind of introduction. But we want to make sure that you're able to be part of this entire conversation and see it. So we're going to take you there now as Mayor Mike Duggan is speaking right before the Q&A with Devin and U of M President Santa Ono. Let's go ahead, take a listen.
The University of British Columbia, president of the same university where his father started out. Before that, he was the president of the University of Cincinnati and was a world-class ophthalmology researcher. But when they dropped him on the campus of Ann Arbor 2 summers ago, he made quite an impression because he didn't know where he was going and decided to try to guide himself around campus, which, if you haven't been there, is hard to do. And so he asked the students. And so the students were giving the new president directions, and it endeared him to the community immediately. He's a constant presence on the campus, dropping in on student meetings, activities, concerts. And when the students come up to him and say, "Can I get my picture taken with you?" he gives the camera to them. He has them take a picture with his camera and then posts on social media, elevating the student story. Is that an extraordinary leader? And so at Michigan, where I've been an undergrad in law school, I'm very proud of that. But we've had university presidents who focused on research. We've had presidents who focused on athletics. We have presidents who focused on the alumni. But what we have today is something the University of Michigan has needed for a long time: the students president. And I'm really proud to introduce President Santa Ono and the world's greatest interviewer, Devin Scillian.
What a terrific introduction. Thank you so much, Mayor, and terrific to have everybody here. I was so delighted when they called and asked if I would have this conversation with you. Before we get into the meat of this, I want to let you first talk about just how much you've enjoyed this job. I have heard you've been doing it you've had it for a little over a year now, and I've heard you ask a number of times about what it's been like, and your enthusiasm is almost childlike for how much you've had fun and how much you love doing what you do.
It's been an incredible about 14 months. The University of Michigan committee is amazing. Incredible group, community of scholars and professors and staff and students, and the best alumni association group, 685,000 strong anywhere in the world. And so it's been extraordinary. And just getting a chance to work with the faculty, the regents, the deans to elevate a great public university is a thrill of a lifetime. It's a dream come true for me, and we have great plans. We've been in the midst of developing a vision for the next decade and also a campus plan till 2050. And some of those things are coming to fruition, even in the first year.
Yeah.
And so we're very proud of what we have done, but where we're going as well.
Yeah, really great. I've got such a long list of things I want to talk to you about, and I definitely want us to spend time on this exciting chapter for not only the university, but the city of Detroit coming up. But let's go ahead, with everybody leaning in, let's start with football and athletics, if we could. Pretty good weekend, I might add, over last weekend. And, in a vacuum, you've beaten Ohio State 3 times in a row, back very much in line to head back to the college football playoffs, an undefeated season. It looks great. However, your coach has been suspended for more games than he's actually been able to attend this year. And there's a reputation issue now where pretty much everywhere U of M goes, there's going to be jokes about signs and cheating. And I'm really curious as to how you feel about where the program is right now, given this sort of a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Well, you know, it's true that he has been on the sideline for 6 games, but we won all 6 of those games. And I want to say it's really a credit to him. You know, the coach has talked to me about that situation and has said that he knows nothing about what happened, and I trust him. He's a man of honor. Everyone who knows him knows that. It's an ongoing investigation. We'll see what happens, but I just wanted to say just very, very clearly, and it's no secret to people, that I trust the guy. I think he is one of the great coaches out there in NFL or in NCAA, and he, the football team loves him, and his coaches love him, and you know, I think the greatest sign of a great coach is that the team wins whether or not he's on the sideline. And I don't know if you saw that interview right after the Penn State win. It's a tough game. You know, they thought he was going to be there until that day.
Right.
And then did you see the interview with Sharon? He was crying.
Yes. Yes.
He said, "I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach." And then he's listening to JJ in the Ohio State game. He said, "I love you, Coach. We miss you." That means something. That speaks volumes as to the kind of coach he is. And the coach told me that, you know, if you coach a team well, it'll coach itself. And boy, did it ever do that. And he also said every single play that Sharon called would have been the same, you know, plays that he would have called. So that's a tribute to the guys. So we'll just wait and see how this whole thing goes. He's going to be back with us for the game this Saturday and the next couple of games, and we're gonna get a win, a big win. They say three touchdowns, so I believe that.
Okay. Wow. But I don't think you take any of the, I don't assume you don't take any of this lightly. Yes, it seems we're done with the Big Ten portion of this. We don't know what the NCAA is going to do. Your first meeting with the Board of Regents last year, you called for the creation of an Integrity and Ethics Commission. So I don't imagine, I mean, clearly there was something untoward going on here. Have you gotten to the bottom? Do you think you understand what Connor Stallion was about and who put him up to it?
I've never met the guy. Apparently he was in a room that I was in. I don't know him. I haven't gotten to the bottom of it because these sorts of investigations, you have to be at arm's length, and so their NCAA is actually involved in that. Sure. Yeah. So we'll let it take its course. Certainly I take it very seriously. This is an academic institution, to be frank, and ethics and integrity are central and core to what we do. It's a cornerstone to a great university. So as you know, people who have been found to be involved or to have transgressed proper process have been held accountable, and that's the right thing to do. So the integrity of the University of Michigan, I take that very, very seriously. At my very first meeting, you're absolutely right, at Flint, I talked about the establishment of this office, and we've gotten, I think, the best person in the nation to lead our independent ethics integrity office, compliance office. She's coming from the state of Illinois, and so she runs this for all the universities, higher education institutions in that state, but she also does it for the health systems and every other part of the state of Illinois. So she's coming from a massive operation. She's bringing all that know-how, and she's a person of integrity, and she's going to stand up really what I think will be a first-rate office at the University of Michigan.
Great. Are you confident Jim Harbaugh is going to be your coach next year?
I hope so. I mean, like I said, we have to wait and see what happens with all these investigations. He is a great coach and means a lot to the institution.
As we broaden out away from just the culture right now of college sports, there's so much money now wrapped up in it. We're about to watch, at last count, I believe the Big Ten next year is up to 47 teams or something like that. I can't, I've lost it. I'm still trying to get the sense of Rutgers playing against Stanford. I can only assume the University of Hawaii wasn't available yet to make it even a crazier thing. But I guess I'm wondering if you ever worry that we're losing sight of the mission here. I've joked before, at Mackinac Island a couple years ago, Joe Scarborough said, you know, at the University of Alabama, the number 1 is the only number we ever care about. And I joked that coincidentally that's the ACT score required for admission, but I do not intend to be a scold, because I went to the University of Kansas, which of course is the high church of basketball, so I'm just as guilty as anybody else. But do you worry sometimes that we've lost touch with the mission of what a university is about, even though we all understand a college sports environment is a big part of the atmosphere of it?
It's a real good question. I'll be really honest. You know, I just turned 61, so I grew up watching Major League Baseball, the Orioles and the Tigers, Lou Whitaker, I don't know, you know these guys, Trammell.
Of course.
Sparky Anderson and Earl Weaver and that guy in the Yankees we all hate, that team. But in any case, it was a different time back then.
Yeah.
You know, whether you were Brooks Robinson or Johnny Unitas, it was a different scene in terms of the compensation, the economics of the sport. Things have changed with television. And so, yeah, I do miss those days. Those days are kind of purist, where the rivalries were more geographic, and you know, there is something crazy about student athletes going to class and also going crisscrossing back and forth across the nation. So I do worry about their welfare. I'm not the only one. A lot of other university presidents do worry about that. A lot of regents and people who care about the student athlete and their welfare. A lot of people think about that. So the conference realignment has just chugged along over the past decades.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it is driven by television and what will be streaming video. And so I do think about that, and we need to do that, keep that front and center, the welfare of the student athlete, as we move forward. We will most likely have two major super conferences. One of them is the Big Ten, the other is the SEC. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. You know, what happened in this round of conference realignment with respect to Berkeley and Stanford was kind of a moment where everybody had to think about those sorts of things. And as you know, they did not join the Big Ten. All kinds of considerations were discussed at the Council of Presidents and Chancellors. And so we are starting to think about those sorts of things. So to be honest, we do worry about that. And we worry about travel time. We worry about the...
Yes, so you're listening to the conversation between Devin Scillian and University of Michigan President Santa Ono at the Detroit Economic Club live. We do have to take a quick break, but we will have this conversation for you streaming when we come right back. Stay with us.